Welcome to Untitled Corner number 4. This time we're talking about the price hikes and like that just general increase of stuff.
Game industry mainly. We're not going to talk about
tech
the price
industry
of
in
gas.
general and everything. I mean, that's like, I would say the AI, like data centers, has not helped with storage and with RAM. That's like
those are the big things. But like the main thing lately, which just happened about 2 weeks ago now, is PS5's officially now just not worth it. And I mean, the regular PS5s
definitely not the Pro.
Yeah, the Pro being $900 is an absolute crime to not even include a disc drive. It was already a crime not to include it in the first place when it was $700. But now the regular PS5 is $650 with a disc drive, $600 for the digital, and $900 for the Pro without a disc drive. Hopefully the disc drive doesn't go up in price, but you're going to still be spending almost $1,000 after taxes just to get a PS5 Pro. It's not worth it. At that point, you might as well just be getting a computer. The main thing that's a concern about this, aside from now people just won't really be able to get their hands on these systems, is what does this mean for the price of the PlayStation 6 coming out and whatever the next Xbox is? Because I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they start at like $800 each at like the minimum. No,
I wouldn't be surprised with that. I do think it's not, as much as like these prices increases are kind of ridiculous when, especially on like the base model and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, these systems are 5 years old.
Yes. It is at least partially to do with the increase of RAM and the increase of that for the new ones being manufactured. But like GameStop's increased their prices immediately, stores increased their prices immediately. But it wasn't like on our next shipment or when they're manufactured.
That's the thing, is that so many of these places I see do it. It's not even in like the tech industry, even in like with cars and stuff. They'll take pre-existing cars that have been sitting on their lots and they'll go ahead and mark them up for market adjustment and whatnot. It's so stupid, and it's like
I think the pre-owned prices at GameStop at least also went up.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Yeah.
Like even though they they just buy them from people, so they can really set their prices
to whatever they want.
I mean, they try and be competitive with the market, so they're trying to be about like Facebook Marketplace like level or whatever, people selling them themselves. But they don't need to just instantly increase the price just because PlayStation themselves increased the price.
No, and I mean, then this also means, well, because Sony and Microsoft have now done it, how much longer is it going to be until the Switch 2 has its first price hike, whether it be by $10, $30, $50, $100? I'm afraid that that's coming in the near future.
I think that their price point for it is actually very reasonable. I thought it was more expensive until I finally bit the bullet and got it, and I thought it was an extra $100 more expensive than I got it.
What's up, Switch 2?
It's at $450 and $500 respectively. I thought it was $550 and $600 or like.
Oh yeah, no.
Or like, yeah, around there is what I thought, but it's not.
I think the Xbox Series S is like just a little bit less than a Switch 2 now.
Yeah.
In terms of buying one brand new.
I don't know the exact price on it, though, if anyone wants to pull that up to verify, so we're not talking out
our butts.
Yeah, our butts for that.
So while he's doing that, let's go back to something you guys mentioned of them increasing the prices right away. I know I talked to you guys about this when it first happened with the tariffs, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But I'm just going to say it's greedy corporations. Just as a business owner, and I know what costs are for the majority of stuff. Well, at least the stuff that we sell.
Yeah, costs from manufacturer.
Right, but that would be like Pokemon Company increasing their prices on Japanese cards, and we have a ton of Japanese cards already there, and we go, let's make more money.
Yeah, and
it's literally the same concept. Mm-hmm. And the next problem with this is what's supposed to happen, and you guys might be too young for this, is when new technology comes out, it's expensive.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to get cheaper over time.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. TVs, they're cheap.
Yeah,
4K TVs.
When is the last time you've seen consoles go down in price?
Probably like 10 years ago.
I would even say before that. I would say, well, yeah, I guess
no,
PS4
yeah,
would
the
be the
eighth
last
generation.
one.
Yeah, the 8th generation was the last time we saw prices go down. But so an Xbox Series S for the 512 gig model.
Where are you looking at?
Microsoft directly on their website. This is their MSRP. is $400 for the 512 gig model and $450 for the 1 terabyte model.
Not the worst. I mean, it's also, I wouldn't recommend a S.
No, and I wouldn't. I mean, especially, again...
Unless you're just playing Game Pass and...
Which is a decent deal with the different...
Yeah.
Like, that's all you're planning on doing. But you can't really expand in the future. And there's plenty of games that run at lower settings. Like a Switch 2 would, but...
And exactly. And the Switch 2 is basically on par, at least when docked, it's on par with the Series S for the most part.
Yeah.
And then when you're playing it in handheld, it's still fine. But, like, I mean, the main thing that really aggravates me with Sony raising their prices is they came out when there was fears of them raising their prices again, that, oh, hey, we actually bought we stockpiled all the RAM.
I remember that.
We stockpiled a ton of RAM so that way we don't have to increase prices. But I think they kind of just saw everybody else was doing it, so they're like, we can just do it at this point.
I mean, when buying RAM for just a PC costs like your left kidney now, that's like...
Seriously, and like even just looking on Facebook Marketplace, people are selling... these kits that I know that they've had sitting in their closet for the past 10 years, and they're selling them for like brand new prices.
With DDR5 being the current manufactured stuff for the most part, I know I think they do just started manufacturing DDR4 again because of demand or whatever. But DDR4 should not be that expensive.
No.
It is all very old. There's so much supply of it.
DDR4's been around for what, 10 years
And they don't
now?
use that in AI, as far as I know.
No, they still do.
They still use that in AI? For the most part,
but yeah, DDR5 is what you want, but DDR4 you still very much can get away with.
Yeah, that shouldn't be expensive.
No,
and it
shouldn't. But thankfully, I've been seeing online that prices are ever so slightly starting to fall, just a little bit.
I know that there was something with Google figuring out a way to use less RAM in AI data centers, which caused them to not need to buy as much.
Yes,
bringing it down a little bit.
I think I saw something similar. So, if they were able to do it more efficiently, I wouldn't be as opposed to it, so long as that people can actually get their hands on this stuff and it's not having the impact it is. Because right now it's I mean,
there's so many impacts for it.
Oh,
but this is just
one
price
of
for
them.
tech,
At least in terms of like the game industry, that's the main thing it's had a huge effect on.
Yeah, it's really just pricing of stuff right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like storage prices, I think are. I like going on Amazon sometimes and looking at, even for like the Switch 2, I've been thinking of getting, one of the micro SD cards for it and looking at the price history of everything. And a lot of the stuff slowly is starting to creep its way down, but some of the stuff has also just jumped up significantly.
Like server like storage, like the when you could take 8 terabytes and stuff like that and beyond, that's skyrocketed.
Oh yeah, of course.
With them needing more for data centers. Where like if we were buying the NAS drives that we got a while back, those are more expensive now.
And we need more, so...
It's all around just not great.
Just supply and demand and corporate greed.
Yeah, and I will say also that like we've been pretty immune in the tech industry from like prices...
Thankfully.
Like going up as much with like for gas or groceries or other things that have been consistently always going up. It's generally been cheaper and cheaper to afford. Like if you look back at the Atari for how much that costs compared to like modern, adjusted for inflation, it's insane. But it doesn't make it great to like go from 60 to 70 to now $80 games and with everything.
Thankfully, like I think Borderlands 4 potentially was going to be $80 when it was coming out, but then people were like, don't you even think about it?
The guy that was
it was Randy Pitchford.
Oh yeah.
He was like, well, it might be, and you're going to buy it anyway or whatever he said.
Yeah, so
if you're a real fan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. Because the other one was The Outer Worlds 2. Microsoft was like, oh, this is going to be our first $80 flagship title, and then people were like, yeah, we're not buying this then. And then they were like, oh, okay, I guess it'll be $70 now.
Yeah. Folded immediately on that.
Even now, games shouldn't be $70. And what I've been seeing a lot more of is a lot of these bigger studios are putting out these like smaller games, and they're actually making them cheaper. Like Mafia: The Old Country is like one of those ones where I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
It was $50?
And it was $50 brand new, which I feel like
it's not a GTA, but it's
still
$50
for a brand new game is insane in like today's market, where everything is 70 or above for a live service title. In a lot of these live service games, you don't even know if they're going to last. Like Concord, that
was 2
got
weeks.
shut down, in like 2 weeks. What was the other one? It was free to play. High Guard.
High Guard.
Yep.
Just came out and flopped.
Yep. Because that was
the one that got
so
announced at Game
stupid.
Awards, and then was just.
It was another hero. It was another
the
hero shooter.
What's his name? I'm
that
blanking.
good.
The main guy for Game Awards.
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley was like, "Oh, this is one of my favorite game that you were showing me," and then he was like, "We're gonna announce it today," and then. No one really cared.
No.
You probably got a
It
good
was
payout.
stupid. Yeah. He does this every time. That's all he does. He's just a talking
Divinity
head.
trailer looked cool there. We never talked about the Game Awards, but that's a different day.
But with the price hikes, it just makes me think that for the next generation of systems, the average person's no longer going to be able to afford them.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a family device. I don't think there's going to be as much of everyone has
their own system. Yeah.
Like, it's going to be unfeasible.
Well, and also the used prices are going to change now. Mm-hmm. Because if someone doesn't want to spend, what'd you say, $900 for Pro?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to go after a PS4 or a PS3 or a PS2 or a PS1.
Or a used Pro, I'm sure, is like probably $800, $700 now.
Right, but then
which is what the price that you essentially paid for it already.
Yeah.
Right, and then it comes to our question of how much do we pay for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
How much do we sell it for?
Yeah,
with numbers we can't disclose, but
that's fluctuate too often to talk about, because we'll talk about today and then it'll change tomorrow.
Right, and that's the ripple effect that this is going to cause, and hopefully people don't buy it. I'm assuming most people already have their PS5.
I guess the weird thing too is, a lot of people have already gotten in finally. Into this generation, just for them to announce that they're working on that in a year or two for PS6.
I think, I wouldn't be surprised if with all the RAM shortage, storage shortage, it's getting pushed back.
Yeah.
I've thought that it's going to probably be 2028 is the earliest that these systems will launch. If realistically, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them until 2030.
I think honestly it would be fine with the current state of gaming. There's no real need to upgrade. We haven't tapped into the full potential of this generation.
Well,
really.
And the problem is also too, it's because we just are relying on all the AI upscaling to do everything in these games. We're not we're not optimizing with the raw power of these systems. And granted, yes, I know now 5 years in, the PS5 and Series X are considered to be, lower end. But when they came out, Microsoft and Sony did their job of making sure that those systems were not underpowered when they launched. Because when PS4 and especially Xbox One, when those came out, those were already well behind the curve.
It also took until Silent Hill 2 for me to find a game that actually looked like it wouldn't run on
PS4.
A PS4.
Yeah.
It took a while. Because even all the exclusives, like Ragnarok, not exclusive, but those were unexclusive. Spider-Man 2 isn't different enough from Spider-Man 1 to feel like it couldn't run on a PS4.
Yeah.
The only thing is the fast travel,
times,
but you could just not have that in the PS4 version.
Yeah.
It's not like an essential mechanic that matters really to the game.
Yeah. The main thing with that game was there was also ray tracing baked into the entirety of it.
Fair enough.
Kept selling for that one was ray tracing on PS5.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look that
impressive.
Yeah. The first one's also impressive with how they do the interiors of all the buildings.
Yeah, no.
But that runs on PS4 just fine.
Yeah, I think at least with the PS5 and Series X, they're going to be able to make it. They'll be fine.
At least we're just getting to the slop stage with DLS5. At least it was AI upscaling before it was just basically looked the same. But we'll see in the future of that.
The slop.
The slopification of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see what happens with everything coming out. If prices system prices aren't going down at this point. If you're jacking them up that much, there's no way you're going to let go after that.
All right, that's about it, though. I feel like we've covered all the basics of this. But we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. You want to do the clap?
Yep.